Siegfried in Granblue Fantasy Versus is an absolute powerhouse of a character. Sieg excels at close-range combat. His highest damage combos and conversions become accessible once he enters proximity normal range. His volatility is furthered even more when counterhits and his unique buffs are added into the mix. To complement his game plan, Sieg has a great number of tools to close the distance, reinforce his approach, and secure frame advantage. While Sieg excels at close-range combat, he also boasts a good number of pokes and disjointed attacks you can use to prod at your opponent from mid-range. It's not ideal, but the option is always there for you to remain unpredictable. If you're a mid to advanced level player that already knows a good deal of how this character is played, skip to this timestamp to skip most of the common knowledge that I'm about to cover. Alright, now that that's taken care of, let's go over Sieg's special moves. Nelah Nav is Siegfried's projectile. The light version is fast and travels full screen. The medium version has slower startup, slower projectile velocity, and travels less distance than its light counterpart. However, its hitbox extends further vertically and can often beat out other weaker projectiles. The heavy version reaches high vertically, has fast startup, and inflicts 3 hits on block or hit. The heavy version is excellent for extending block strings or extending combos, being +4 on block even when done at point-blank range. Ultimate Nelah Nav boasts incredibly fast startup, projectile-piercing properties, and inflicts a hard knockdown on hit, leaving you at a minimum +60 frame advantage depending on where you land the projectile. It also has a hitbox when Siegfried stabs the sword into the ground. This hitbox is active on frame 9, which is pretty fast. On top of this, landing the hit with the projectile if you don't cancel from a normal attack refills your Skybound art gauge by 25 units. You can use this to do some disgusting Okizeme setups, but I'll go over that in greater detail in the advanced setups section. Messager is Sieg's DP/anti-air/combo ender. The light version comes out blindingly fast at frame 6, covering a large area above you and in front of you. While it sounds incredible on paper, in practice you're better off using his 2H to anti-air, as it can't be blocked mid-air. You also get a bit more damage off your 2H route than your L Messager route. On block, it leaves you at a staggering -20 frame disadvantage. Medium Messager is where things venture into traditional DP territory. Invulnerable on frame 1 to 12, very punishable on block, etc, etc. Great for interrupting your opponent's block strings or reviving your priority by mashing this after your opponent blocks a move of yours that's minus. The heavy version functions the same as the medium version, but does more damage and has more invulnerability. Ultimate Messager serves the same purpose as a reversal DP, but this time you get a hard knockdown as well. You get excellent Okizeme off this special, which I will cover in the advanced setup section. Verdrangen is an incredible gap closer that features insane range and insane root motion. While it's great for harassing people at longer ranges, ironically its true potential lies when done at close range, at least in most cases. All versions of this move shift Siegfried's hurtbox and collision box drastically forward before his hitboxes become active, often causing you to slingshot yourself directly into your opponent's attack or grab before your attack comes out, interrupting your attack entirely. Light Verdrangen is used to check opponents at longer ranges. It's an excellent way to steadily bulldoze your way into your opponent's personal space. It's best when used at mid-range to long range. Do your best to avoid using this attack at point-blank range, as you are throw punishable on block. Medium Verdrangen is where things get really interesting. It's an incredibly slow attack that can be charged, relatively safe on block when uncharged, but will leave you at +3 on block if you charge it. Landing the charged version on hit will cause your opponent to bounce, allowing you to net a smaller combo mid-screen, and a more damaging combo in the corner. This can be used to set up some horrific option select nonsense which I will go over in the advanced setup section. Heavy Verdrangen is the fastest version of Verdrangen. It combines the boons of both light and heavy to bring you faster startup than medium, and the ability to charge the attack so it's +3 on block. A full charge will result in a ground bounce like its medium counterpart. Ultimate Verdrangen is unblockable, and has super armor for some reason. It causes a bounce on hit and a crumple on counterhit. This version, however, cannot be charged. Taking more than half a second to come out, this move doesn't function like you'd think it would. This super armor only lasts from frame 9 to frame 29, leaving you vulnerable to be interrupted for 6 frames before the singular frame the hitbox is active. Don't ever try to use this attack as a reversal or to trade hits. If your opponent doesn't interrupt you out of the attack, it's gonna get spot dodged on reaction and you'll be punished. Just pretend that this move has no super armor and you'll do just fine. Although difficult, there's a good amount of setups you can use to time this special as a meaty. Most players know of the close jab into buffered ultimate Verdrangen setup, so it's important to have more than just one setup locked and loaded when the situation arises. More on that later. Orkan is Sieg's Rekka. The light version can be used out of your auto combo for a gapless block string. Once the 2 slashes land, you can force your opponent to make a move. You can input light attack to be jumps and light attacks. If your opponent evades or crosses over during this attack, you're +7, meaning you can punish their evasion attempts by mashing light attack. This follow-up will whiff on crouching opponents and is beaten out by an abate grab when done at point-blank range. The medium follow-up forces Siegfried into a parry stance. This follow-up will beat an opponent's attempt to mash light attack, forcing them back as Siegfried retaliates. This follow-up is highly vulnerable to grabs and patient opponents that are content to wait out your aggression and punish you accordingly. While this only really covers one option, it has a rather special application in some situations. The heavy follow-up causes Sieg to make a small hop forward and swing his sword twice into your opponent. This follow-up will counter reversal throw and will beat jumps. It's highly vulnerable to evade, crossover, abate lights, and blocking. You're going to be -6 if your opponent blocks this. The unique follow-up causes Siegfried to lunge forward with a command grab. This option will lose to abate light attack, jump, grab, and a timed evade. It's very risky to go for, but very rewarding. Landing the grab will cause a hard knockdown and create space between you and your opponent. You're +52 here, which opens up a myriad of Okizeme options which I will go into later. The secret 5th option is to do nothing. Siegfried can hold his stance for 120 frames, or roughly 2 seconds. You can use this to bait your opponent into acting before you do. If they get an itchy trigger finger, you can movement cancel out of this stance and punish with whatever your heart desires. Medium Orkan can be used to catch your opponent's mashing light attack during your auto combo block string. However, if they mash crossover or evade, you will be at a -9 disadvantage. It has slower startup but travels a tad further than the light version. On hit, your medium Orkan will combo into your heavy attack follow-up. Heavy Orkan travels further and has faster startup than medium Orkan. The light and heavy follow-ups of heavy Orkan can net you combos when performed in the corner, or just slightly away from the corner. Ultimate Orkan functions completely different. This is just a basic attack that causes a cinematic effect on hit that transports your enemy into the corner regardless of your current position on the stage. This version of Orkan has no Rekka at all. It reuses the animation and frame advantage properties of your Orkan grab follow-up, giving you the exact same Okizeme options as said grab follow-up. A typical reversal super, invulnerable on startup, steals a single bravery point from your opponent and transfers it to you, but only when you land the sweet spot. However, this proves for an incredible anti-air, being unblockable in the air. You can also use it to punish certain projectiles from a large distance. While useful at range, it does more damage when done at close range. Dragon install in its entirety feels redundant. There's close to zero reason to ever go for this super. Here's the cons. It costs all of your gauge, your meter gain is neutered for a significant duration, and it saps 50% of your remaining health. That's a lot of bad. What are the pros? Well, you get a tiny damage bonus of 100 damage on all of your specials and heavy normals, and those heavy normals and specials get a negligible life-stealing effect. To me, it seems like a direct downgrade of Manigance. Siegfried's buff skill, but with like 10 times the drawback. Fun fact, unlike Dragon install, Manigance adds a percentage damage buff to not only your special attacks, but your entire arsenal of attacks. At Manigance level 1, you get a 10% damage increase. At level 1, you immediately outdamage any special that could have been done with your Dragon install. So, why would you ever go for this? Well, here's one barely justifiable instance. Style. On a Counterhit anti-air, you can activate Dragon install and get a really cool looking combo. Other anti-air combos will do more damage, of course, but this combo is more about flash and less about fury. Just like Dragon install, you're actively lessening your chances of winning by activating this skill. Even at low health, it's gonna increase your risk of dying to chip damage. 70% risk, 30% reward, 100% useless. This is Siegfried's damage-dealing ultimate. Designed to make a comeback, this super does incredible damage at close range, is invulnerable on startup, causes a hard knockdown, restores a bravery point to Siegfried, and depletes 2 bravery points from your opponent's stock. Relatively typical of a super skybound art. You get the idea. Now that that's out of the way, it's time for the obligatory combo exhibition video. I'll display the inputs on screen, but I'm going to be absent for this part of the video. I'll return to discuss his Okizeme setups in detail. For me, Oki is the most interesting part of the character, and a lot of minute details can get overlooked if not explained well. Skip to this timestamp if you're already knowledgeable about Siegfried's combos. Anyways, I'll be right back. From a throw, Siegfried can get a safe jump of course, but if you're feeling extra aggressive, he can buffer his medium full charge Verdrangen after a throw. This will auto-time itself to hit meaty as your opponent wakes up. DPs and invulnerable startup attacks will beat out this option of course. However, if your opponent does anything other than an invulnerable reversal, you can force them into an option select. If your opponent blocks, they'll be -8, allowing you to follow up with a dash attack to continue your pressure and start a block string. If they mash on block, they'll get Counterhit. If they cross over, mash attack, grab, or jump during the option select, they'll take that hit to the dome and you can follow up with whatever combo you feel like. If they evade, you'll be at a +10 frame advantage. From here, you can input close heavy, bar medium, or down medium to score a counter-hit punish and start a combo. In the corner, this allows you to option select with a close heavy for a devastating corner counter-hit combo. Personally, I like to input the attack button 3 times at the final moments of Verdrangen's active frames. If my opponent blocks or mashes, the hit stop will eat my input and I can change my approach on reaction. If my opponent evades, my 3 inputs will catch the recovery frames of my opponent's evasion, securing a counter hit and securing a combo. If your opponent doesn't DP here, they're put into a lose-lose situation. If you notice your opponent blocking too much, you can mix it up even more by timing an ultimate Verdrangen to land meaty on your opponent's wake-up. Unblockable, by the way. As of the most recent patch, you have a 3-frame window to land this. Before, it was a 6-frame window. Needless to say, it can be quite difficult to time it correctly, as the timing is entirely manual. A trick I like to do is microdash and cancel into ultimate Verdrangen. It's difficult to get the timing down, but with enough practice, it's possible to get it down consistently. The ultimate Verdrangen setup becomes even tighter in the corner, as the threat of being grabbed out of it becomes a possibility. If your opponent evades this setup on wake up, you'll be at a +1 frame advantage. There's not really anything you can do here. It's best to reset to neutral from this point. Also, landing a throw mid-screen will allow you to place a heavy Nelah Nav to continue your offense. Upon either landing the Orkan grab follow-up or landing an ultimate Orkan, you can buffer a low light, then buffer an ultimate Verdrangen to land meaty in the corner. If you buffer this correctly, this will auto-time with your opponent's wake-up. If you have no meter to spend, you can use the same timing to auto-time a fully charged heavy Verdrangen to land meaty on your opponent's wake-up. This opens up another option select. If your opponent blocks the heavy Verdrangen, they'll be -7. If they evade, they'll be -10. This space between you and your foe is too great to follow up with a close heavy. At this range, your best option is to buffer a 2M to punish counter your opponent's evasion, or buffer a dash light to extend your offense. You'll also get a safe jump if you buffer a high jump directly after landing the aforementioned Orkan attacks. Upon doing an ultimate Messager in the corner, buffering a full charged medium Verdrangen will auto-time to land meaty on your opponent's guard. This opens up yet another option select. If your opponent blocks this, they'll be at a -3 frame disadvantage. If they evade, they'll be at a -6 disadvantage. Your best option here is to mash light. This will beat out their attempts to mash out of block. This will also punish counter the recovery of your opponent's evasion. They might try to cross over, but your jab will recover in time for you to catch another punish counter on them. You'll also get a safe jump after landing an ultimate Messager in the corner. This setup gets a little bit tricky and conditional. This setup works as long as your opponent is in the corner, they must also be grounded, and they must be at point-blank range. You can buffer a dash light attack after landing the Sweetspot, then buffer an ultimate heavy Verdrangen, or a full-charged heavy Verdrangen, to land meaty on your opponent's wake-up. If your opponent evades the ultimate Verdrangen, you'll be at a +2 frame advantage. The distance is too great to push offense. Retreat here and reset to neutral. If you use the heavy full charge Verdrangen, this opens up another option select opportunity. If your opponent evades this attack, you'll be at a +8 to +10 frame advantage. If your opponent blocks this attack, you'll be at a +7 frame advantage. Buffer a low medium to either punish counter your opponent's evasion or continue your pressure. This projectile will cause a wall bounce in the corner. This will leave you at a huge advantage, allowing you a meaty setup and another option select. After you sweet spot this attack, buffer a grab whiff. In the final moments of your grab whiff, buffer an ultimate Verdrangen to land meaty in the corner. If your opponent dodges this attack, they will be at a -2 frame disadvantage. At this distance, they'll likely try to grab after an evasion, so be prepared to tech. The ultimate Verdrangen can be swapped out for a fully charged heavy Verdrangen. If your opponent blocks this attack, they'll be at a -7 frame disadvantage. If they evade this attack, they'll be at a -10 frame disadvantage. Buffer heavy attack to punish counter an evasion attempt, counter hit a reversal grab attempt on block, or get a corner combo started. While this setup may seem specific, I can show you some combos to get the ball rolling. This setup is super simple. There's a lot of instances where you land an ultimate Verdrangen without a counter hit. This causes your opponent to bounce up before shortly falling down into a hard knockdown. You'll not be able to get a combo started at center screen. If you have the meter to spare, buffer a 2M directly after landing the ultimate Verdrangen. Then, buffer another ultimate Verdrangen. It will be a frame-perfect meaty that will land on your opponent's wake-up. This setup is a way to convert your current attack chain into a reset option select. The first step is to make sure your opponent is airborne. Heavy Orkan is a great way to achieve this. Manually time your first attack so that it doesn't connect when your opponent is higher in the air. Follow up your auto combo with another attack input, then cancel that second attack into a full charge medium Verdrangen. Your opponent will be forced to air recover due to the hit stun decay, causing them to fall directly into your Verdrangen. If they block this, they'll be at a -8 frame disadvantage. If they evade, they'll be at a -10 frame disadvantage. This opens up another option select. Buffer heavy attack to punish counter an evasion attempt, counter hit a reversal grab attempt on block, or get a corner combo started. After landing a counter hit overhead, immediately buffer an ultimate Verdrangen. It will auto-time to land meaty on your opponent's wake-up. If you have no meter to spare, a full charge heavy Verdrangen makes for a good substitute. Yeah, this is the setup that everybody knows already. Your opponent has to be airborne and relatively close to the ground. Land a close 5L, but don't cancel the animation. Instead, wait for your close jab animation to finish completely, then buffer an ultimate Verdrangen. This will land meaty on your opponent's recovery. Alternatively, you can cancel your jab animation with a full charge medium Verdrangen. It will auto-time to your opponent's recovery, but it will land on the first active frame available, only leaving you at a +3 frame advantage on block. Using your super skybound art while cornered will side-switch your opponent into the corner and force them into a hard knockdown. This will leave you at a +49 frame advantage. Follow up with an immediate heavy Nelah Nav to catch their wake-up. This will force them to block or evade. If they block, this will leave you at a +36 frame advantage. If they evade, you'll be at a +29 frame advantage. At that distance, all you can really do is full charge a heavy Verdrangen, or run up dash medium. These setups work with or without the cinematic damage boost. You'll get the same frame advantage regardless of the cinematic bonus. The only difference is the distance between you and your opponent post-super. Just throw a heavy Nelah Nav on wake up and approach with an uncharged light or heavy Verdrangen. Not a lot you can really do at that distance. All you can really do here is throw a light Nelah Nav to be spiteful of the fact that there's not much you can do here. On your opponent's wake-up, you'll be at a +42 frame advantage. You get a safe jump of course, but you can also plant a fully charged medium Verdrangen on your opponent's wake-up to open up an option select. Without an invulnerable reversal, your opponent is -8 on evasion and -7 on block. Buffer a close medium to punish and evade, continue your offense, or get a corner combo started. In this situation, the distance is too great to get anything meaningful other than a light Nelah Nav. And, that's all I got for this video. Big thanks to anybody able to sit through the whole thing. And with that, I'm off. Until next time.
An utter victory! Unbelievable!
Each victory is no more than a stepping stone to the next. Is this the current fashion? Strength through edging? I don't quite understand the gooning fad.